Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Great League, showcasing another very powerful team featuring Obstagoon. Now, this team is a viewer submission courtesy of her little one, a member of my Discord. Big thanks to you for the submission, of course. And she was in the Discord. She had caught this Toxapex and was asking for some team ideas. I floated this one out and it was smooth sailing from there. So the thought process behind this team is Obstagoon on the lead. Very underutilized, addresses a lot of the common leads that we often see, primarily steel types and ghosts, while the back two protect it from primarily Azumarill. Toxapex, of course, handles the fighters quite well, and Lanturn handles Azumarill. So very solid coverage for Obstagoon's weaknesses on the lead, and very strong team. I'm glad she submitted it, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm super excited to dive into this team. So without further ado, let's have a look at it and dive right in. Once again, big thanks to her little one for the battle submission. Very much appreciated. Here we go. Picking up a positive lead coming in the form of Frostlass. Obstagoon, of course, can do very well, but Frostlass can fight back with the threat of the very hard-hitting Avalanche. Is going to throw up a shield here that would do quite a bit of damage. And they've got a Wigglytuff in the back, so going to store some energy, and we had just the answer to a Wigglytuff in the form of Toxapex. Toxapex absolutely hard walls Wigglytuff like you wouldn't believe. You can actually just poison jab the Wigglytuff all the way down. No need to shield anything from it. And going to just throw a brine just to get rid of it and preserve a little bit of health on the Toxapex here. Leaving relatively healthy and with loaded energy, that is never a bad thing. And going to go for a brine on the Frostlass. Of course, Gunk Shot would be resisted with that ghost typing, and they do let that go, as Toxapex doesn't hit particularly hard. Its redeeming quality is absolutely its bulk, and they do go right for that Shadow Ball. That was the play. Avalanche just would not have gotten the job done there. And oh, they've got a Guzzlord in the back. Holy smokes, the team core broken by Obstagoon. You absolutely love to see it. Obstagoon has loaded energy, going for a cross chop, grabbing a shield from the Guzzlord, and going to fire off cross chop number 2 here. It'll be interesting to see what they want to do. They double shield the Guzzlord. Very interesting. So this might be worth a shield, shielding up the Dragon Claw, because they can get rid of this Guzzlord. That would put Lanturn in a very good spot. But they do elect to throw immediately, and I don't blame them. They're in a bit of a hard spot here. So now it is all up to Lanturn, and this Lanturn is running Water Gun for a few of these battles. I did end up recommending Spark in the Discord, so I think most of them are with Spark, but this one happens to be with Water Gun. Doesn't matter because it's all resisted by the Guzzlord, and gonna go for the Surf. The farm down was not looking to be a possibility. And that's enough resistant damage to KO that Guzzlord. And now it's a race, and just can't quite get to that Surf in time. And that will be lights out, unfortunately, for the Lanturn. Just couldn't quite get that last one done, but that is okay. We press on, picking up a Nightmare League. Gonna safe switch into Lanturn here onto the Shadow Granbull. And they make a play into a Medicham after storing a little bit of energy. Gonna fire off the Thunderbolt here. Medicham can absolutely tank this, but they shield, wanting to hold on to switch advantage, as Lanturn did take quite a bit of Shadow Charm damage. And this is just a power-up punch, so very interesting moveset on the Medicham. Gonna look to go for a Surf, but they trigger the CMP tie, so this is just another power-up punch. And now I would imagine bring in Toxapex, with the shield advantage. But Toxapex has some heavy lifting to do here. They didn't even build up to a Psychic. I'm wondering, this might be an Ice Punch Pup Medi, which is a very interesting moveset, to put it lightly, on Medicham. No access to Psychic, and we say bye-bye to the Medicham, courtesy of a Gunk Shot. Oh, but they have a Lanturn lurking in the back. Tried to catch this move here, but gonna have to shield. They still have a very healthy Shadow Granbull in the back. Just gonna rip off the Band-Aid, throw Obstagoon here to draw back out that Granbull. Gonna go for a Night Slash. That's what you do on the fairies, as it does have stab. And we get the boost, but it's not gonna be very helpful. But those resisted counters with the boost did put in a little bit of work on this Grand Bull here. They let the crunch go, and I think this Lanturn is just a little bit too healthy. Lanturn about as tanky as it gets. I don't think the gunk shot's quite going to be enough, and we do top left, but good game, well played to them. Had some very interesting teams so far, and we are moving on into the next one. Not a great lead here. Defense form Deoxys. Gonna stay in a little bit. Can chip with a Night Slash, but gonna bank that move and go into Lanturn. And they are going to stay in a little bit to get off some of this energy. They are at Thunderbolt, and they do go right for the Thunderbolt. So they're staying in, so they may be weak to a potential Lanturn in the back. Going to fire off this Thunderbolt here. Deoxys does not have to shield this at all. And they don't. They do let that go. But this Deoxys can be a bit problematic for this team. Going to fire off the Surf on the CMP. They are at back-to-back Psycho Boosts, and I think it might be worth a shield to shield up at least the first one, if that is what they're going to do. Yeah, they're looking to go back-to-back as they are low on health. And no need to shield the second one as the defense is, or attack has been harshly lowered. But they make an aggressive play into a Shadow Nidoqueen. Very interesting. So there could be a Dark type in the back. Going to bring Obstagoon in here. I think the play would be to bring in Toxapex, as you do resist the fast move pressure, and you do still have a shield for potential Earth Power. But gonna just do what she can here with this Obstagoon. Gonna fire off this Night Slash here. Does decent damage as this is a Shadow, but just can't quite get that next one off. Yeah, we kind of zigged when we should have zagged in a few of those, but that is okay. We press on and do a Noctowl lead here. Have some very solid answers to this Noctowl. And they tried to catch onto a Lanturn, so this is very interesting. Gonna fire off this Night Slash here, and then look to come in on the Mirror with the health advantage here. And this is a Water Gun Lanturn, so this is why I prefer Spark here, generally in the Open Great League. Primarily for the Mirror matchup, and of course you do super effective damage to those flyers, and of course Azumarill. So I do prefer Spark in the Open Great League. For just this sort of occasion right here, they do let through the Thunderbolt. And it is getting a little close here. Going to fire off the Surf. And I presume they would let this go. They are low. Yeah, they do let that go. They do still have that Noctowl and a Raikou. Oh, my goodness. I haven't seen one of these in the Great League in ages. Holy smokes. This is very spicy for the Great League. Going to fire off another Surf here and really put the pressure on this Raikou here. And of course, it's not nearly as bulky as it would be in the Great League. It does get quite high in terms of its CP. I'm going to let the Wild Charge go. They have severely lowered their defense here, of course, with the Wild Charge. I'm going to throw Toxapex in here to... Oh, and catch onto Obstagoon. I like that play, as there aren't too many more places for Obstagoon to go. And holy smokes, that Wild Charge did a boatload of damage. And they do come back in with the Noctowl. Going to fire off this Night Slash here and chip away at the very tanky Noctowl. And now it's looking to be all up to Toxapex up a shield to perhaps bring this one home here. Going to let the Sky Attack go, as Toxapex is about as bulky as it gets. I'm going to fire off a Brine here. This won't quite KO, but it would be getting them quite low. And they do shield, so that is amazing. I think it's worth shielding from here on out, but gonna let it go. The Raikou is quite low, and they don't have any shields. So her little one could presumably farm this Noctowl down and have a move stored for that Raikou, but does shield here. And gonna just elect to get rid of the Noctowl. That's enough to KO the Noctowl. And yeah, that Raikou is hanging on by a thread. Toxapex pulls it out. Good game, well played. Man, Raikou in the Great League. Like I said, that was quite spicy. I've not seen one of those in quite some time. But here we go. Lanturn lead, very neutral lead. Slightly positive for Lanturn. Lanturn just outbulks Obstagoon. So I think what I would do is chip and dip into my own Lanturn for the Mirror. And you can play right on up to the CMP ties. Obstagoon does win CMP tie over Lanturn. They bait with a Surf, and they make a play into a Noctowl. So seeing that shield, they might have got a little nervous, reading that the team might be weak to a Lanturn in the back, which they're not necessarily wrong, but we had just the answer for this Noctowl, as they do fire off a Shadow Ball. Lanturn tanks that all day. Gonna fire off this Thunderbolt, and if this Noctowl lets this go, we're saying bye-bye to the Noctowl. And they've got a G-Fisk in the back, so Lanturn can put in work here. Gonna fire off this Surf here. G-Fist can tank that. Does quite a bit of super effective damage, I must say. And gonna fire off Surf number 2, really putting the pressure on this Galarian Stunfisk here. And they are gonna shield that. Shields are now even. And man, I don't know, might not worth the shield. They do let the EQ go, and you're just gonna come in with Obstagoon. So this Lanturn is still relatively healthy. Gonna fire off the Cross Chop, but that is okay. Yeah, so Obstagoon, the win condition now lies with Obstagoon. This Lanturn is quite low. You can just let all this go and just put the hope and faith into Obstagoon to sweep this game. G-Fisk can't do a whole lot to Obstagoon. They have to land an EQ to pull it off. Didn't really need to throw that. What I would have done was at least let them throw to take out, because that would give Obstagoon additional farm, but that's okay. This is beautiful. They're throwing. That is amazing. They kind of had to because they would have had to go down a shield, because Brian would have done quite a bit of super effective damage. Going to fire off this Cross Chop, grabbing the shield. And now all her little one has to do is shield this up, and it is just about nighty-night, sleep tight for this G-Fisk. Holy smokes. Obstagoon putting in the work. We get to this Cross Chop, and we were saying bye-bye to the G-Fisk. Good game, well played. Big thanks once again to her little one for the battle submission. Very much appreciated. Okay, picking up a nightmare lead here, coming in the form of Metacham. Going to save switch into Lanturn, and they are staying in a little bit here. Gonna be interesting. Lanturn obviously comfortably tanks a Psychic, but they usually like to chip and dip, and they make a play into a wall ring. This is not a Lanturn answer whatsoever. Gonna fire off this Thunderbolt, doing big damage. Hello, holy smokes! They let that go. That was insane to see. My goodness. And this is just an Icicle Spear. There is no way they're making it to an EQ, and just like that, Wally is gone, and Lanturn is left remaining. But this does give this Metacham some additional farm here. Gonna fire off the Surf just to chip, and they do shield. So now you obviously want to bring in Toxapex onto this Metacham here and see what they want to do. They are staying a little bit here. They could go Psychic, but they do bait. Toxapex does live a Psychic quite comfortably, and they make a play into Stunfisk. So you want to immediately be going into Obstagoon. You don't even need to throw this energy, as Obstagoon thoroughly dominates G-Fisk, but that is okay. We are still up a shield here, and Obstagoon tanks one of whatever they want to throw. Obstagoon tanks that quite comfortably, and you don't want Obstagoon to be super healthy for that Metacham to farm off of. So I'm going to fire off this Cross Chop here. And they do let it go, and Obstagoon can easily counter down from here. They do not make it to another move, but this is going to give this Metacham a few more counters worth of energy, but Toxapex up a shield should do just fine here. Just going to chip with a Night Slash, and now it is looking like smooth sailing from here. Gonna let this go and calling it, but not calling it successfully. It is the Psychic. And gonna fire off the Brine. Her little one is just about at back-to-back Brines here for this Metacham. And we'll make it to this Brine, no problem. On the CMP, all she has to do is shield this up, and it is nighty-night sleep tight for this Metacham here. And we do get to this Brine. It's more than enough to say bye-bye to the Meta. Good game, well played. So glad to see her little one having such success with this Obstagoon team, and here we go. Swampert lead, very neutral lead, of course. Shadow Swampert, the damage output along with the spammy nature of Swampert is just insane, but Obstagoon does comfortably tank a Hydro Cannon, and they cannot farm down. So I'm going to fire off this Night Slash here, and Shadow Swampert trainers usually like to shield, but they no shield that. I don't know if that's the play. So we're going to shield Obstagoon and look to win lead here, as you don't want the Swampert anywhere near the Toxapex, and they make an aggressive play into a Scrafty, and Obstagoon not quite done. Going to fire off this super effective Cross Chop, and they let it go. Not sure what they're holding onto those shields for, but going to meet this with the Toxapex. That is the best answer to a Scrafty on this team here. And they do fire off the foul play, but taking that Cross Chop was not advisable, let's just say, as Toxapex can easily just farm down and leave with absolutely loaded energy. These foul plays are doing laughable damage, and the Scrafty is now gone. Gonna fire off this Brine onto the low health Swampert. I do imagine they just let this go, just throwing Swampert in here to soak some of this damage. And oh, they've got an Alolan Marowak. Oh my goodness, it is lights out as they do top left. Good game, well played. Man, AWAC in this economy? My goodness. I haven't seen one of those in a while, but here we go. Noctowl lead, pretty neutral lead, slightly positive for the Noctowl. Noctowl just outbulks Obstagoon, unfortunately, and these these sky attacks do really add up on Obstagoon. But gonna fire off this Night Slash here, and I do imagine they let this go as Noctowl comfortably tanks many Night Slashes from an Obstagoon. Tried to catch the sky attack, but they hold on to that energy, and they make a play into a Swampert here. So Swampert does have to land the Earthquake to win this matchup. All the while, Lanturn can spam off these Surfs, which do hit for neutral at a much faster rate. I think worth a shield, but they go right for the EQ. Holy smokes, this trainer is not messing around. My goodness. I think her little one was expecting a bait there, maybe. But the opponent is not messing around. Gonna fire off this Night Slash here. It doesn't KO. Oh, and they get the boost. Definitely worth a shield here. Not sure what they could have in the back. They could have a Lanturn of their own in the back, and if that is the case, it's not looking too good for Toxapex. And they fire their sky attack immediately. Oh, it's getting a little close here. Her little one does elect to let that go, saving the shield and putting the hope and faith into Toxapex here. Toxapex will tank this move, no problem, but the question is, what do they have in the back? Oh, it's a G-Fisk. Oh, this is not looking good, yeah. The reason why is because these poison jabs are triple resisted, and the brines, although they do have stab, they just don't hit for enough super effective damage, and the G-Fisk is shielding. Recognizing the matchup, it is, not looking too good. But her little one is going to stick it out and just have to call a bait here, but it was not the bait. That's going to be a good game. Well played. G-Fisk in the back was a bit rough, but here we go. We press on. Good lead. Shadow Sableye. You don't see Shadow too often. They make a play into a Medicham, and we had just the answer in the form of Toxapex for this Medicham, although Medicham can, of course, fight back with the threat of the Psychics, but they bait. Holy smokes. That's okay. Toxapex can still do quite all right here. Toxapex comfortably tanks a Psychic, no problem. And they're just going Ice Punch. That's very interesting. Not sure why. I guess they're just trying to get those shields down, but going to fire off a Brine here, and they do let that go. Wanting to save the shields likely for that Shadow Sableye, as Shadow Sableye, quite squishy, does need the shields to perform at its best. And I do imagine her little one will let this one go. Can comfortably tank. Oh, they're running Power Punch, Ice Punch. This is why you don't run that moveset in the Open Great League. Holy smokes. They're running the wrong moveset. No wonder. Oh my goodness. But they do bring back in the Shadow Sableyes with the Ghost typing. They are resisting this fast move pressure. And they are going to fire off a move. Not worth shielding. You definitely want the Obstagoon on the Sableye if you can have that happen. So you're going to bring in Obstagoon here. Shields are now even. And this is a Shadow, so they do not have access to the recommended return. Going to go for the Power Gem. Obstagoon tanks that quite comfortably. And oh, their core broken by Obstagoon. You love to see it. They've got a G-Fisk lurking in the back, firing off these super effective cross chops, and these counters are absolutely chunking this nice shiny G-Fisk here. Gonna fire off this cross chop here, grabbing the final shield, and now it is looking like smooth sailing here for Lanturn. They are basically within surf range, and Lanturn is up a shield. Should have no problem cleaning up this end game here. Gonna fire off this surf. Still might not quite KO, but we'll be getting the G-Fisk quite low. Yeah, it doesn't quite KO, but absolutely want to shield this. Definitely worth the shield. That Sableye is hanging on by a thread. It goes down to a resisted spark, and we get to this surf for this Sableye with no shields. Holy smokes, we're saying bye-bye to the Sableye. And Lanturn has come in clutch, closing the game strong. And that about wraps it up, guys. Big thanks to her little one for the battle submission. Like I said, I floated this team suggestion out in the Discord. She took the advice, and it was smooth sailing from there. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.